Hello, welcome to the Porsche Centre Portsmouth. My name's Stuart, I'm one of the technicians here, and today I'd like to show you in this video how to replace the battery in your Porsche key remote. So, starting with this key here, you can separate the two halves of the key along the seam by hand. And that will separate the key with the electronics in one half. In the other half, there's a rubber seal. And if this isn't fitted correctly or is twisted, this can make getting the key back together quite challenging. So make sure that that's sat in the grooves all the way around and is not twisted. To replace the battery, if you have a trim tool similar to this one, it makes the job a little bit easier, but you can achieve it without any tools. There's a plastic tab that holds the battery in on this side of the key here, and if you slide the trim tool in opposite this, you can release the battery like so. And I've got the plus, or the positive side of the battery facing me as I'm removing it, so we must ensure that when refitting the battery or installing a new one, it goes back in the same orientation. So to refit the battery, just slide it underneath the tab just there, and then pop the battery back in the key just like that. And then to reassemble the key, just align the two halves, make sure the gap is even all the way around, and then it should just snap together nicely like that. And that's that done. To replace the battery in this key, the two halves can be separated by hand along the seam. So just prise that apart. The electronics will come away in one part, and then the battery will remain in this half of the key here. Again, if you have a trim tool similar to this, this does make the job considerably easier. There's a retaining lug on this battery just here. If you slide the battery away from that retaining lug, and then insert the trim tool in between the housing and the battery, you can gently prise the battery away. I have the plus on this battery, or the positive side, facing me, so when we're installing the new battery, we'll make sure that the plus is facing us again. So just slide it underneath the tabs over here, and then just gently press, and the battery pops into place. To reassemble the battery, to reassemble the key, just pop the two halves together, make sure the gap is even all the way around, and then just press that together, and that's all done. To replace the battery in this style key, you first need to remove the emergency key blade. So there is a release mechanism just here, which is a little tab that slides across. You can do this by hand as well. So if you slide the tab across, and then the key blade will come out like so. The battery cover can then be removed. So if you just grasp the battery cover and slide it away, and then you can just take that part away, and there's the battery in the housing there. I have the plus of the battery facing me, so when we put the new battery in, again, we're going to make sure that the positive side of the battery is facing us again, so that's in the correct orientation. So just rest the battery in the housing, insert the battery cover at the end opposite the end where you released it first, and then pop that back together. And then finally, the emergency key blade just slides back in like so. And to replace the battery in this style of key, you must first remove the emergency key blade. So there's a little indent here which you can use to release the emergency key blade. Remove that and pop that to one side. The two halves of the key cover will then be removed. So in the recess left by removing the emergency key, just press sideways and this cover will come away, so you can pop that to one side. Do the same with the other half of the key cover. And it will tuck behind the little tab at the bottom here, so when you're removing that cover, you'll need to prise it away at the top and then down to be able to remove that. Once you've done that, the battery cover is visible, and there's markings on it which show that you turn anti-clockwise, and you can do this by hand, or if you have a suitable tool you can release this, but turn anti-clockwise, so I'll just show you here, until the two locking tabs are exposed, and then the cover will lift out. I've got the positive sign on the battery facing me, so when I put the new battery in, I'll make sure that that's facing me again so that the battery's in the correct orientation. So with the new battery, just pop that in the key there, and you'll need to refit the battery cover the same way that came out. So I've got the text, the open text facing me. If I fit that the other way around so that the text is upside down, the tab won't fit, so I won't be able to fit the battery cover this way. So align the battery cover in the correct orientation and then turn it clockwise again to secure that. And with the open inscription completely level now, I can reassemble the key. So starting with the covers, with the left-hand cover here that I removed first, I'm going to slide that against the little locking mechanism at the bottom of the key here, and then I'm going to align that at the top until it snaps into place. And then the other half of the key again, at the bottom of the key first, make sure that these small locking tabs just here go into the recess on the side of the key there, and then snap that into place. And then finally, the emergency key blade can be reinserted.